in Atlantic City as play continues on day 2 of the 2006 United States Poker Championship.
You tell some amazing story.
The journey has ended for some of the biggest names in the game, and as the knockouts continue, the pressure to survive has the players on edge.
I hate that hand with a passion.
$2.5 million is on the line. We'll see who among this record field can keep their championship dreams alive right now. Welcome inside the Trump Taj Mahal. You are looking at the survivors of day 2 so far here at the 2006 United States Poker Championship. Hello, everybody. I'm Lon McCarra, and he's Norman Chad. Tonight, we bring the second day of action to a close here at the 2006 USPC. Big names have come, big names have gone. Greg Raymer and Mark Safe to name 2. In place of the established pros is a group that is decidedly younger and less experienced than what many USPC observers are used to, Norman.
Lon, poker does keep getting younger and younger. Pretty soon, we won't have a dinner break here. We'll have recess. The youth movement is thriving. And the best thing about being a young unknown is that you are unknown. Nobody knows your playing style. And for the pros, sometimes you've got to pay quite a price to try to figure out their game.
All right, let's meet some of the players we will see in action tonight.
I'm Jordan Morgan from Norman, Oklahoma.
Tony Cousineau, Daytona Beach, Florida.
I'm Eric E. Dub Wiener. I'm from New York.
What's up? I'm Brett Ritchie from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
To the featured table in the Taj Arena, Jordan Morgan is the chip leader at this table with over 163,000 chips, chasing the tournament overall leader, Eric Bankoff. We started with 261 players. We're down to about 100 right now.
And just about everywhere you look at the USPC right now, Lon, it's young, younger, youngest.
The blinds at 300 and 600, and we have a 100 chip ante from each player. And those are pocket 8s for Greg Baird.
You know my striped shirt rule, Lon. You can't win in them. Good luck.
He raises it up to 2,200. Jordan Morgan folds. Here's Tony Cousineau. He will give it up. Next to act is Michael DiMichele on the button.
And a striped shirt on the button, that's a little different.
DiMichele reaching for chips, and he will make the call with pocket queens. So DiMichele with queens has the lead over Baird.
Now, if striped shirts go heads up, one of them has to win. But in the long run, you can't win tournaments wearing that type of fashion.
Here's our flop. It is 7, 4, 8. Couple of hearts. Baird with a set of 8s to get the lead.
Well, he's got a lot to consider, Lon. You know, why am I wearing this shirt? Why am I wearing these sunglasses? Why am I wearing the baseball cap?
Baird is going to make it 3,000 to play. With a very deliberate DiMichele.
Well, I got to believe he's thinking of a raise. That flop doesn't really bother him, and so he's minimum going to call, and he may come back over the top.
And with those 3 undercards on the board, he'll just call. So Baird leads with the 3 8s. The turn card is a king. Baird's still in command. He's first to act. He checks it.
He's going to slow play it and hope that maybe the king helped DiMichele. And if I'm DiMichele, Lon, you know, you probably thought you had the best hand on the flop, so there's no reason not to believe you don't have the best hand now.
He'll make it 6,000 to Baird, who loves to see that. Baird now with the big lead makes it 25,000 total to play.
And now there's plenty of reason for DiMichele to think he's beat. Good young player, though. Nice haircut, nice watch, nice ensemble.
A very deliberate player, both at the table and in his dealings with the media. Considers everything he says very carefully and considers every play he makes very carefully and folds.
Nice laydown.
So Greg Baird flopped a set of 8s, and he takes the pot, and DiMichele gets out just in the nick of time. All right, let's move from the arena table to the featured table in the Taj Poker Room. And there sits our tournament chip leader, Eric Bankoff. Right now, with over 178,000 chips, he's had a nice run today. And there's Joe Seebach, not far behind, with over 145,000.
Seebach, the son of poker great Barry Greenstein.
We are looking at Matthew Hoynowski with king-queen offsuit, and that's worthy of a raise. 2,100 total to play. In the blue hat, Jeff King folded right away, as does Vimy Ha. And our chip leader, Eric Bankoff, gets out of the way as well. Over to Vincent DeVita. He says no thanks.
In the BY cap, you see Frank Vizza, who finished 8th at last year's USPC. He gets out of the hand, as does Seebach.
Next in line from Bloomington, Illinois, is Josh Timon.
How old is this Timon?
24 years old.
Okay, if he's 24, I'm an astronaut.
And with pocket queens, he will make the call and go heads up against Hoynowski. There's our flop. It is ace 9-4. Timon keeps his lead with a pair of queens and checks. Hoynowski checks behind him. And to the turn we go. It is a queen. Both players love that card, but Timon gets the check mark with 3 queens.
And that is a dangerous card for Hoynowski. As you said, he's going to like the pair of queens he got.
Timon's going to come out with 3,000 chips.
I swear, I put Timon on being maybe 16, 17 years old.
Hoynowski's a little suspicious.
Well, it's a small bet. He's looking for a call here from Hoynowski. Not much of a pot yet, so 3,000. Not a whole lot.
Hoynowski with the pair of queens, but at second best, he'll make the call, drawing dead. And these two go to the river card. It's a king. That gives Hoynowski kings up now.
Boy, that's just a terrible card for Hoynowski. He's got to believe his kings up might be good. First, the teenager will bet.
24-year-old Josh Timon bets 8,000 with his set.
King help you there?
No, it didn't. But Timon in the driver's seat.
Gotta see it.
Absolutely. Makes the call. Does Hoynowski?
Ouch.
And ouch indeed.
Boy, you know, I would have lost a lot more money if I were Hoynowski, Lon. I might have raised on the turn. I might have raised on the river. That's Norman Chad poker. Lose more than you should.
So Timon pads his chip stack to the outer tables. Devin Miller on the right moved all in, called by Chris Reslock. It is Devin Miller with pocket kings against Reslock's pocket queens. The flop is no help to Reslock.
No.
Turn, and the river come up short, and Devin Miller doubles up through Chris Reslock.
Make sure I get paid properly.
Miller just won the Ultimate Bet Aruba Poker Classic, $745,000.
It's not like it matters. You got so much chips anyway.
Chris Reslock did have over 100,000 chips, but doesn't want to give any away to this very dangerous Devin Miller. Back inside to the Taj Arena, Shane Schlager with pocket tens raised it up to 2,100. Brandon Cantu had pocket eights and made the call. And now Greg Baird has 2 black kings, and he raises to 9,000.
He'll try to push around the youngsters.
Another pocket pair, sixes for Jordan Morgan, but they go into the muck.
9 straight.
And now Schlager with his tens and a re-raise back to him. He'll play.
I was the one that should have raised.
Cantu bemoaning the fact that he's on the button and considered pumping it up with his pocket eights.
Wow.
And now doesn't know what to do with them.
And the 2006 World Series bracelet winner folds. And so we'll be heads up. Baird with his kings against Schlager's tens.
Well, we saw good discipline there, first from Jordan Morgan and then from Cantu in folding their small pocket pairs.
8-9 queen on the flop. Schlager with a straight draw, but Baird's kings are still best, and Baird is going to make it 12,000 to go.
And Brandon Cantu would want his pocket pair back. He'd have a set right now. But a decision for Shane Schlager. Got the gut shot straight draw. The queen might worry him, but not a whole lot of hands beat his pocket tens right now.
Schlager agonizing over this decision, and he will give it up.
And Baird pushing around the whiz kids at this table again.
So Schlager gives up his cards and the 9,000 chips he committed to that pot, and Greg Baird gets that much richer. We've seen him hit a couple of big hands and get very aggressive with him to win the pots. Playing no limit by the book is paying off for him so far.
Should just made a really horrible raise on you.
Welcome back to Atlantic City in the 2006 United States Poker Championship. At this arena featured table, Jordan Morgan, whom you see right there with 10-9 suited, is the table leader.
A lot of 20-somethings at this table on. Shane Schlager, though, is 29. Enjoy it while you can.
Morgan limped in. Tony Cousineau with pocket nines also limps in. Action folds around to Eric Weiner, and he'll give it up. Richie folds, and it's King 7 for Brandon Cantu in the small blind. And for half price, he'll make the call. And in the big blind, Greg Baird with Queen 5 checks his options. So 4 players to the flop.
4 players.
Pocket nines for Cousineau with the advantage right now. The flop is Jack 5-6. Cousineau's 9s are the best hands still, but Morgan picked up a flush draw. Mathematically, he's got the best draw.
Baird got bottom pair.
Cantu, Baird checked. Morgan now with that draw bets 1,800 chips. And Cousineau will go right along with him.
It's a small bet from Morgan, and Tony thinks his pocket 9s might still be good, and they are.
Brandon Cantu gets out of the way. Greg Baird considers and folds.
Cousineau, an old man in this heads-up battle. He's 39. Morgan is 22.
Turn card is a 6 of clubs, and Morgan hit his club flush. Cousineau's got a few outs, though.
Morgan's going to slow play it. He checked.
And Cousineau will bet 3,500.
2 pair for Tony Cousineau, and just a smooth call from Jordan Morgan. He's hoping to get some more action from Tony on the river.
And the river card is another 9, and Cousineau got his full house.
That's not the action Jordan Morgan was looking for.
4,500 chips from Morgan, dead in the water.
What you got?
What a disaster for Jordan Morgan. Remember the huge hit he took against Dan Shack early in this tournament when he got unlucky? And I think this is a push all-in situation for Tony Cousineau. Only pocket jacks or pocket 6 could beat him right now.
45. Can I raise if I want? Oh.
Yeah.
Scare me. Can I raise if I want? Oh.
Yeah.
Scare me.
He's got to raise. He must raise. He has to raise.
You can definitely fold if you want.
Oh, another option offered.
Trust me, I have to quit playing poker if I fold this hand.
Cousineau with 5 top 20 finishes in the 2005 World Series.
Could just call. That'd be kind of weak. I raise.
He says it would be weak just to call, so he announces a raise, and he makes it 10,000 more.
Well, Cousineau's table talk, Lon, to me, has virtually telegraphed to Jordan Morgan that Jordan is beat. I don't think Jordan's going to get away from his flush, but Cousinologists would tell you that what he said indicates he can beat at jack-high flush.
He said he'd have to give up poker if he folded that hand.
I really feel like I should fold.
And that was the last 9 in the deck. Morgan's got one in his hand.
If I can.
What do you say? He doesn't think he can fold now?
He says, I think I should, but I don't know if I can.
Now the Greek chorus chimes in.
It's just not that big of a bet for Jordan to call.
I hit gin on the river.
Nice fault.
Oh, wow, that's a 1-outer.
Gin on the river.
Actually, it was a 3-outer. 6s would have killed him, too. Jordan shows us his flush.
That's the case 9.
And the hurt reverberates throughout this table.
Wow, did you hit gin all right? You hit beyond gin. Hey. That's like more like Yahtzee.
Like this?
Sheesh. Nice hand, Tone.
So Tony Cousineau and his full house takes the pot.
And I'll tell you, Jordan Morgan, with a lot of composure and class for a 22-year-old, takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
To the outer tables again, Devin Miller once again on the upswing.
Gonna be a bloodbath.
And feeling very confident about his chances. That's just how he rolls. Elsewhere, we see Eric Crane. Crane pushed enough in the pot to put his opponent all in after the turn. Crane has a straight after the turn. And he gets his wish. His opponent does make the call and move all in, but holding pocket kings, he is drawing dead to Eric Crane. So Crane with a winning straight. He stumbled early in this tournament, but now he's becoming a force.
Earlier, I lost 23,000 chips the first hand of the tournament. I went upstairs, had some bacon and eggs, and cooled off for an hour and 15 minutes.
I used to do that. Now my cholesterol levels are approaching the down.
Back at the arena table, Saul Levitt raised it up to 1,200. Got calls from the small and big blinds. Morgan and Cousineau. These 3 go to the flop. The flop is King 5-7. Morgan paired is 7. Cousineau with a flush draw.
How deep are you, sir?
Morgan checked.
2, 3, 4, 4,300.
This may be the stupidest bet ever to make in my life.
Cousineau bets, but not enough to put Levitt all in. 2,300 is the bet.
I've made stupider bets than that.
Levitt folded. Morgan with middle pair makes the call. So these 2 hook up again.
This isn't where I thought I'd wind up. Heads up with him.
Morgan leads with his sevens. Cousineau now with a straight and flush draw.
All right. Let's see if my kicker's good on the river.
Check, check.
Check, check to the river. The river is a 7 of hearts, and Cousineau hits the river again, this time with the flush.
Plus, Morgan got 3 sevens.
That's
Jesus,
cruel.
luck is ridiculous.
Jordan Morgan checked. 5,000 from Cousineau.
Here I go again, paying off. He called. He goes, here I go paying off again. I said,
You did, and he's going to pay him off.
All right, there you go. There's your ball. There's your flush.
I bet you I could sell Jordan Morgan a Tony Cousineau voodoo doll for like $800 right now.
You got a whole bag of tricks over there.
Seriously. Forget about the mega tricks. Man.
hey, well, you've been playing as many tournaments as I have in the last 5 years. You've come up with all the...
Tony doesn't have a house because of that.
Tony is a busy boy. He's a grinder on the tournament circuit and still looking for his breakthrough win. Maybe here it'll happen in Atlantic City. All right, let's move to the Taj feature table in the poker room. Herbie Montalbano with pocket kings. Going to raise it up to 2,400 chips.
Raise 18.
Tournament leader Eric Bankhoff folded. Action folds around to Joe Seebach with pocket jacks. He makes the call.
This kid's been carded, you're telling me?
Josh Timon has been carded. He's 24 years old.
He's got a subscription to SI for kids.
So these two go to the flop. The kings against the jacks. The flop is 10, 7, 5, all hearts. Neither player with a pocket heart. Seebach checks. Montalbano's kings are still best, and he bets 4,000. Joe Seebach raises to 30,000.
Wow. Wow is right. Seebach trying to get rid of a possible flush draw.
You have a heart?
You have 2 hearts?
A check raise would scare me off those kings. I scare easy, though.
Montalbano's
I'm just worried if you have one big one.
twisting in the wind.
I got 2 big cards, but either one's a freaking heart.
Well, I guess we all know what you're doing then.
And Seebach gets Montalbano to fold.
2 queens.
2 queen?
Show the bluff.
Show the bluff.
Show the blow.
Good for the game. No bluff. No bluff.
No bluff, just naked American aggression.
Seebach bluffing after the hand is done.
Good lay down. Good lay down.
A true poker player is never off the clock. Welcome back to Atlantic City, the 2006 United States Poker Championship being led by Eric Bankhoff with over 188,000 chips, and he sits at this featured table in the Taj Poker Room. You are looking at Matthew Hoynowski with King 10 offsuit and a raise to 1,200 chips.
Come on, that's an invite, right? What do you think?
That looks like an invite.
Bankhoff accepts and calls with pocket fours.
I'm intrigued.
You know, we're on TV. Let's get some action.
See, if the USBC were on radio only, Hoynowski would have made that bet.
I knew you'd like that.
Are you happy you got the people in that you wanted?
I know.
I'm not sure Hoynowski wanted it, but nonetheless, he'll have to go against the two top stacks at this table. Joe Seebach with the advantage with the tens, Bankhoff with pocket
See what
fours.
happens, shall we?
3 players.
Hoynowski with the King 10 offsuit. To the flop, it is 6-6-4. Bankhoff flops a full house. Seebach checked.
No, be ashamed of yourself. You didn't hit that flop.
Hoynowski checked.
Au contraire, he did hit that flop, and Bankhoff deciding whether to pounce on it now or later.
Yeah, it's a small bet, 3,000.
3,000.
Now Seebach, whose 2-pair come up short, calls. Hoynowski folds.
I hope it's not.
Joe, I didn't want to do this, man.
I still don't want to do this.
I didn't want to get
You're the one
involved
that
in
can hurt me.
this.
So the two big
You're still the one
stacks
that
to
can
the
hurt me.
turn. King of hearts. Bankhoff still best.
Let me try to end it now.
Seebach checked.
I have a hand I'm probably going to have to play.
That's not enough to end it?
Bankhoff with the full house.
No, I fear you, so maybe that'll be enough to end it.
Measures out 15,000 chips.
Seebach in a world of trouble if he continues down this path.
I feel like you have 2 9s or something.
If I did, would it be good?
No.
No.
Not right now. It's not good.
This is the Jamie Gold effect. Too much talk about your hands.
Get out, man. I like playing with it.
You're going to show me? See, you're not going to show me, so it's
I
hard
have
for me
to
to
think
believe.
about it. Let me think about it. Let me think about it.
Do you want me to play? That's the question.
I never want you to play me. You know you scare me.
Yeah, Jamie Gold hovering over both these guys.
This is such a hard hand to fold in this spot.
I think it's real easy.
Bankoff
I'm gonna call.
tried to warn Seabach, but he calls.
Calls 15,000.
Man, you scare me. You really scare me.
I was gonna check it all and not do anything and be all nice about it.
It's a queen. Bankoff
again.
now with a check mark. Seabach checked.
I'm supposed to bet more here.
If you think you have the best hand.
Oh, I think I do.
I yearn for the days in which TJ Cloutier would just grunt and bet.
I don't know whether I should push all in. Would you like if I pushed all in?
Boy, a lot of dialogue.
Or do I just turn him over?
I think raising that thing, right?
I'm a pig. I'm sorry.
Nah, he's not a pig, he's a nice guy.
Bankoff will bet. It's a full stack of orange. That's 20,000 to Joe Seabach.
Well, this value bet might hook Seabach one more time.
Throw him away.
How many times does he have to say it?
Apparently not enough.
He calls.
Oh, jeez.
Bankoff wins
I
it.
told you. I didn't lie.
Nice hand.
Well, he just gave up a lot of chips to the chip leader, but Joe Seabach, the son of a poker star, is becoming a player to be feared on his own merits.
Luckily for me, you know, having done this for a couple years and, you know, made a couple of these TV tables, and you don't get as nervous. Uncomfortability is a really easy thing to read on some people. But for me, I don't have that fear. And that's a huge advantage on the poker table. The fact that I don't get nervous at this point, you know, it allows you to zero in on the goal, which is winning the tournament. You can never have too much love in this world. You know what I'm saying? You can never have too much. But I do appreciate it. I do.
Even though he had Barry Greenstein under the same roof, Joe didn't start playing cards until he was an adult, then hit the ground running, made 2 World Series final tables in 2005.
Joe cashed 3 times that year and 3 times here in 2006. Still looking for his first bracelet. Action around to him, and he'll raise it to 2,000 with ace-9. Now Josh Timon.
Timon, by the way, is a pro who's cashed 3 times at the 2006 World Series.
He calls with pocket fives, and pocket fives for King. You don't see that every day.
No. And King won a World Series circuit tournament here in Atlantic City, and he's a very good cash game player.
He'll make the call. So we have 3 players going to the flop. And the flop is 3 king deuce. That misses everyone. Seabach with the 2 overcards has the best drawing hand, but he's got to improve to win.
3,000.
King checks. Seabach bet 3,000.
If you look at Timon really closely, I think you'll see there might be some facial hair growth eventually.
He really is 24. And he'll make the call with his pocket fives. King with pocket fives got out of the way. Turn card now is a queen of hearts.
Check.
Timon still leads with those fives. A check from Seabach. And a check from Timon. River card now is a 7. Timon gets the check mark. He can only lose by folding. And Seabach will force the issue, 7,000.
Maybe Seabach's identified Timon as one of those guys at the table who is uncomfortable, and he's targeting him.
You must have had clubs and you hit your 7. Is that what happened?
I got lower than a 7.
What's that?
So I got lower than a 7. I'm trying to figure out what hand you'd play that way, though.
That's a deeper voice than I expected. Definitely post-puberty.
You value betting that queen?
It's like discussion groups are now standard before players make or call bets.
You said you had lower than a 7? Oh, you have a pair lower than a 7. Oh.
If I had a high card lower than a 7, I'd be fooling pretty quick.
Yeah, Seabach played this weird. I feel for Timon trying to figure it out.
All right, I'll give you credit.
Timon folds.
The bluff works.
Seabach, with his reputation preceding him, gets some respect from Timon and takes that pot with the worst hand again. Let's go to the feature table inside the Taj Arena. Eric Weiner had raised to 1,500 on the left. Brett Ritchie re-raised to 5,400 with aces, and Weiner made the call. So here we go, these 2 to the flop. Aces versus the 10-9 of clubs of Weiner. The flop is queen, 9-10, and Weiner gets 2 pair to take the lead. Weiner will bet 12,500.
All in.
He's all in twice, which puts more pressure on Weiner.
Richie moved all
Was that
in
5,
with his aces.
7, 12, 14, 4? Flop bottom 2. I don't know if I could lay this down. I don't know if I could lay this down, man. I'm hoping you have aces and kings. Fuck, the set of queens on me. Should have never called a hand before, but I thought you were making the move.
14,400 more to Wiener.
God, I really hope he has aces and kings almost.
Richie trying to make no false moves.
Could have easily. I don't think he flopped the set of 9s and 10s, obviously.
Inside, Richie's dying, though, knowing the winner is bottom 2 pair, and he makes the call. This is our degree all-in moment. Brett Richie's tournament life on the line. His pocket ace is coming up short to the 2 pair of Eric Wiener.
Come on, hold up one time. Hold up one time.
Hold up one time, the poker player's new anthem. I'm surprised John Mellencamp hasn't recorded it.
The turn is a 4 of clubs. No help to Richie. Actually helps Wiener, who now has a club draw.
Wow, this will be even worse now. It's got 1 out.
Well, it's not a 1-outer, but Richie does lose an out there. The ace of clubs no good. It would give Wiener a flush. But Richie can still stay alive here with an ace of spades, queen, or 4 on the river.
And it is a queen. Richie gets the better 2 pair to earn the degree check mark and steal the hand from a disheartened Eric Wiener.
Wow. Very good.
And that seemed like a very painful hand for Eric Wiener.
That's him.
A roller coaster ride for both players. A tough beat to take, but Richie ends up on top.
The Degree All-In Moment is brought to you by Degree. Protects men who take risks.
Welcome back to the Trump Taj Mahal. The tension beginning to mount everywhere you look.
Poker is pain. Poker is masochistic, evil, hang yourself by your toenails, pain.
I need one more.
Aspirin tablets abound here at the Taj, and David Singer might want a couple of those. He has moved all in. He has ace-king offsuit. He's up against David Baker, who has ace-jack. So Singer looking pretty good so far as we go to the flop, but Singer at risk. And the flop brings a pair of jacks and a spade flush draw to Baker, and Singer in trouble. And the board gives Baker the winning flush, and David Singer, who finished 6th at the World Series horse event, has been eliminated from the USPC.
Put your money in, bag your luck.
Back to the feature table here in the Taj Poker Room. Hornowski and Montalbano in the hand. Eric Bankoff re-raises the action to 10,500 with ace-jack.
All right, Joe, it's time for my hand.
Vincent DeVita?
Nah.
Did not look confident even before he looked at his cards. He gets out. Now they re-raise back to Hornowski, and he'll get out of the way. And Montalbano moves all in with his ace-queen.
Well, he's in good shape with his ace-queen.
Up against the ace-jack.
Yeah. That's the way it's been running for me.
Bankoff warning Montalbano. He's going to knock him out because he's been running good.
And the flop, 4, 9, 6.
Here comes the jack.
No help for Bankoff.
Bankoff looking for a jack to knock out Montalbano.
It's a king of clubs.
Jack.
Well, Bankoff's pretty confident that a jack is coming.
Come on, man. Anticipation's killing me.
Only a jack would knock out Montalbano.
One suck out.
And now the river card.
Good hand.
It is a 4, and Montalbano will survive with his ace-queen. Doubles up at the expense of Eric Bankoff. To the outer tables, you see Victor Ramden with ace-10 suited all in and in trouble against Scott Bowman, who has pocket queens. The board is no help to Ramden, and he has been eliminated by Bowman. Elsewhere, Thomas Walrus with aces against Daryl Gigabet Dickon with king-queen. Gigabet is all in. The flop is no help to Gigabet. Walrus's aces hold up through the river, and just like that, 2 big guns are gone from the USPC.
I was all in 2 times with the best hand, and I got outdrawn. That's poker.
Yesterday, things went very well. Played very well. I accumulated a lot of chips without any large confrontations, and today things just went the opposite direction.
Gigabet fell to the curse of the striped shirt, Lon.
And there is Frank Vizza trying to avoid being knocked out. He pushed all in with his final 10,100 chips with Queen Jack. Vincent DeVita calls him with Queen 9.
And Vizza in good shape, having DeVita dominated as we will go to the flop.
So Frank Vizza, who finished 8th at this tournament last year, trying to make a return trip to the final table, but has a long way to go. And now the flop with Visa all in. The flop, oh, there's a 9 in the window, and DeVita pairs his 9 to take the lead.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, Billy Bob Thornton now has Visa on the ropes.
Turn card is an ace, no help to Visa. 1 shot left.
And Visa's road to a second straight final table all but over. He's going to need a jack and a jack only, or he is wamboozled.
River card is a 7, and Frank Visa is gone.
And there'll be no parting gift for Frank Visa from Bad Santa on that one. Just a trip to the rail.
And last year's 8th place finisher makes an early exit from this year's proceedings. Welcome back to the U.S. Poker Championship in Atlantic City. Jordan Morgan had a very sizable lead on this table earlier, but he has been losing chips, and his lead is not quite so formidable. Action underway here at this featured table in the arena. Brandon Cantu gives it up. And this man, Greg Baird, has been very aggressive, but he will not play. Ace-Jack suited for Jordan Morgan. And that's good enough for a raise to 2,100. Morgan's arch nemesis, Tony Cousineau, with pocket 3s, will make the call. Action now on Michael DiMichele.
DiMichele plays a lot online, but he says he gets tired of sitting in front of a computer screen, so once in a while he gets out and mingles with real people.
And DiMichele with the Jack 8 suited makes a raise to 8,500. Short stack Saul Levitt folds, as does Eric Weiner. Re-raise back to Jordan Morgan. And he quietly goes away.
Unusual for Morgan.
He's been beat up on the river a couple of times, so he'll lay low, and DiMichele wins the hand with a pre-flop raise.
And the formula there was worst hand plus biggest bet equals take down the pot.
DiMichele now at 67,000 chips. Brandon Cantu didn't play that hand. He's one of the short stacks with almost 25,000 chips. But at the outer tables, his girlfriend, Jennifer Lee, has moved all in with pocket 9s against the ace-king of Daryl Ozias. But Ozias flopped a pair of aces. And just like that, genocide has been sent into the night here in Atlantic City.
I had a really nice dinner. I got full. And I got too tired, and I really played bad.
I actually ran into Brandon and Jennifer at dinner. I was surprised to see them at IHOP.
Back in the arena, Shane Schlager raised with 4-3 offsuit. Weiner called him with ace-7 to the flop. Weiner paired his ace to almost put Schlager away. But Shane is not shrinking away. He bets 3,400.
34, you said?
Shane picking a bad time to get cute with his 4-3 offsuit.
Weiner paired his ace, just makes the call. So Schlager with a lot of makeup work to do, and the king on the turn won't do it.
Now he slows down, and as you see, Shane would be drawing dead going into the river.
Weiner checks to the river. River is another queen. What a board out there. Schlager first to act.
And Shane with no part of that board, but he seems to be organizing some type of cute thing again.
Oh, that's so sick.
Oh, boy.
That's so sick.
That's 5,600.
This can't keep happening.
Now, Weiner was done in on the river once before.
Well, I think Weiner is going to be in some type of group therapy soon if he doesn't screw himself into the ground first.
It's a great card for him to bet on, even if he doesn't have it. He knows I can't call him with the ace.
Those kings and queens out there, Weiner is paralyzed.
You either got extremely lucky or extremely unlucky with that cooler card.
And look at Shane, still as can be.
I can't call.
And Weiner does fold.
You don't want to say.
Yeah, of course I don't want to say that. Right, I get to find out. I get to find out in 5 months.
When Eric Weiner sees that hand, they're going to take him away in a rubber suit.
Of course.
You think I was playing the board?
You were playing the board.
Yeah. That's a good guess.
What? Say that again?
You all had the right read. What can I tell you? But I
hope I'm wrong. That means I made a good laydown.
No, you were right. You made a bad laydown. But, I mean, that's cool.
So I made a bad laydown?
Welcome back to Atlantic City. Lon McCarron along with Norman Chad bringing you action from the 2006 United States Poker Championship. Herbie Montalbano raised it up to 2,200 with 8-6 of hearts. Action is folded around to Matt Hoynoski. Wojnowski trying to figure out the tactics of Montalbano, who is getting short stacked, but Wojnowski with queen 6 makes the call.
Montalbano is divorced. Wojnowski is married. I gotta root for the divorced guy.
The flop is king 9 queen. Wojnowski hits the queen to increase his lead, and he checks.
Continued bad news after you get divorced.
22.
Montalbano bets 2,200.
Jeez, he must be eavesdropping on Shane Schlager's play at the arena table.
2,200 to Wojnowski.
You have a gold one there, yes?
Yeah, one left.
Okay.
Well, the only one I ever had.
This is actually a tough call, middle pair with a weak kicker.
He does make the call, and Montalbano seems distressed. Maybe he figured he just bought it right there. It's a 5 of clubs, a straight draw now for Montalbano on the turn.
But they both check it to the river.
River is a 7, and Montalbano gets his straight.
That's sick.
That is just amazing. And Wojnowski bets 4,000.
He now figures his queens are good, and he's going to find out otherwise.
And you got the flush.
Just a call.
All right.
You got the flush?
Montalbano thinks maybe a flush has him beat. But Montalbano comes through with the best hand.
Oh, wow.
And that's a great, look what I just did, smile.
I knew it was coming, runner.
Wow.
He did hit runner to beat Matt Wojnowski. All right, let's go to the outer tables and catch up with Ralph Pecorali, last year's runner-up, who is running very short on chips right now. But smartly, he is picking on a shorter stack at the table. Ralph is one of 6 poker-playing Long Island buddies who entered this year's tournament. Ralph finds some good cards and wins the hand, and he keeps his hopes alive. His friend and last year's champ, James Capruccio, has been eliminated, but continues to keep tabs on their home game buddies.
Got my 2 buddies left here. My buddy Ryan went all in under the gun. He was short stacked, and so Scott Fishman then called his all in, and then my other buddy Matt then went all in over that. Fishman called. Ryan had kings. Fishman had ace king, and my other buddy Matt had queens. The kings held. Ryan tripled up, and then Matt won the side pot and pretty much kept it even. So the best thing that could have happened from that happened with that.
Good to have a field reporter out there, Norman.
I don't like anyone taking work away from us. It's like he's reaching into our pockets.
Back to the feature table in the arena. And you see Saul Levitt hanging on by the wettest of cocktail napkins, a short stack. And he's going to push all his chips in, 4,800 on ace-king offsuit.
Levitt seems just a bit too erudite for this group.
Too what?
Erudite. I know he's more erudite than Brandon. Brandon's a retired sky cap, for goodness sakes.
Brandon calls himself one of the laziest people probably on the planet.
Raise.
Gets a count from Levitt and announces a raise. He moves all in with his queens.
Not a good sign.
Why'd you want to hang around these young grifters any longer anyway?
All right, so a lot of folds behind Brandon Cantu, perhaps just trying to isolate Levitt, and that's what he gets. So Brandon Cantu's queens against Levitt's ace-king, with Cantu with an opportunity to knock Levitt out of this tournament.
Well, we got ourselves a race going to the flop.
It is 9-4 deuce. No help to Levitt.
It's a race that Brandon Cantu has pulled way ahead in now.
Turn card now. Levitt looking for some help to hang on. And he got it. He got the ace.
Yes, already guess.
And that's a big potential blow to Cantu.
No queen.
He doesn't have a lot of chips either.
48.
Brandon can still knock him out with a queen on the river.
It is an 8, and Saul Levitt will hang around.
Guy's got 9 left.
Brandon Cantu down to just over 25,000 chips, but Saul Levitt still a very short stack, but almost 12,000 now in the bank, and his patience pays off at the expense of Brandon Cantu. Back in Atlantic City, Jordan Morgan, the table leader here, but pretty much stuck in neutral, trying to regain some of that momentum he had earlier in this tournament. Brandon Cantu gives up his hands. Greg Baird has been pretty quiet after an aggressive start. And now action on Jordan Morgan. Jordan is going to raise it up to 2,300 with a suited ace.
I think he's glad to see Cousineau get out of the hand.
Exactly. Action folds to Eric Weiner. Eric with King Jack. And he will make the call from the small blind. Brett Ritchie in the big blind with pocket deuces will play as well. So 3 players to the flop.
I'm rooting for Eric Weiner because I just like to see a little sunshine come into his life at some point.
And now the flop. It is 9-5-3. Morgan gets the best of that with middle pair. Weiner first to act. He checks.
He had completely missed the flop.
Richie, still with just the pocket deuces, bets 4,500.
Little feeler bet to see if the deuces are good.
Morgan has the pair of fives after the flop, and he's going to come along.
I'm surprised he just called. I thought Morgan there would either raise or fold. See where he's at if he raised.
Weiner folded, so heads up to the turn. Turn card is another 3. That is no help to Richie, who does trail. Richie checked, and Morgan checks behind him. Richie looking for some makeup work on the river. And the river card is a deuce, and Richie hits the full house, and Jordan Morgan's rotten river luck continues.
Jordan just keeps taking these blows to the head. Can you imagine Eric Weiner sustaining these blows?
No. 18,000 is the bet to Morgan, who gives it up.
Good laydown.
He's tired of paying people off on the river. Brett Richie now approaching 78,000 chips.
Well, Jordan Morgan, 22 years old, going on 100.
It's been a tough road to hoe today. All right, let's go to the feature table in the Taj Poker Room. Vimy Ha with pocket fives will limp into the pot. Montalbano folded. Eric Bankoff with a suited king 9 makes the call. Over to Vincent DeVita, Norman. That's not Billy Bob Thornton.
You've got your information. I've got mine.
DeVita will call with 10-8 of clubs.
Don't spoil it.
Joe Seebach, the big stack in front of him.
She's coming in?
Yeah.
With 7-6 offsuit with 3 players already in the pot, I'm going to have to call his father.
From the big blind. Now to Josh Timon on the button. He's going to raise it, much to the chagrin of everyone else.
He's got a legitimate hand, actually. Compared to that stuff, he should have raised.
King, queen of hearts. Wojnowski will fold.
Yeah, this should thin the field. Bunch of pretenders.
King is not going to play. So the raise back to Vimy Ha. It would cost him $3,700 more to call with his pocket fives.
Well, everyone's got to like the price that if they hit the flop, they're going to make a lot of money.
My favorite hand.
Fives?
Really.
Oh, no, he's kidding.
Uh-oh.
He'll call.
Made it interesting there.
Next in line is Bankoff.
Yeah, 5-way action, when you got king 9 suited, that flop really has to hit you just right.
Almost. He gets out of the way.
I agree.
You probably saved me $3,700 then.
DeVita can't play that.
I could. They're suited. They're connected. Okay, you're right. He's not playing it.
Seebach will play.
I really think I'm going to regret that.
They're not suited, but they're connected.
So we got the 2 best hands plus Joe Seebach.
Okay, 3-way action to the flop. Flop is 9-8-4 rainbow. Ha's fives are still best.
That's your favorite hand.
Now Seebach got a straight draw. Off first to act, then he checks.
Check.
Seebach checks to Josh Timon.
10,000.
Josh getting feisty. He got no part of that flopping bets.
Still being the bully. 10,000. Off folds. Seebach now.
I'm all in.
Wow, moves all in. These two tangled before. And again, Timon gives it up.
And now I'm going to have to call Barry Greenstein and give his boy props. He read weakness everywhere, got a good flop, and exploited it.
Caught him.
Beats up on Timon again.
Gotta catch him. And I'm still going all in. He's gonna get us every time. Just make 10 more.
And that frustrates everyone else.
Well, the big stack used effectively there by Joe Seebach.
Seebach approaching 170,000 chips is beginning to challenge Eric Bankoff for the chip lead at this table. So Seebach, a very dangerous player with maybe one of the best poker mentors in the world, and he's got a bunch of chips. Norman, I got to figure he's going to be very dangerous.
And that last hand, he knew that Timon didn't want to risk the rest of his chips in that spot. Great read by Joe.
Joe folds that hand. Action over to Josh Timon with ace-10 offsuit. Timon is going to raise it up to 2,500. Wojnowski folds. And now to Vimy Ha. And Vimy says re-raise with his ace-queen.
Timon in a dangerous spot here. He's got the weaker ace.
It cost him 3,500 more to call, and he does. And so Ha and Timon go to the flop. As you mentioned, Ha with the better kicker. The flop now is Queen 8 Jack, a pair of queens for Ha, a straight draw for Timon. Ha first to act. He's going to push it now with 8,000.
He's got to like his top pair, top kicker.
Timon on the draw. Timon moves all in.
All in on the draw. Everyone wants to live fast and die young, Lon.
Don't draw me out.
Makes the call. Will have the advantage with a shot to knock Josh Timon out.
He's a kid with a dream.
Draw it. He's on a draw.
It's just a draw, and I usually don't like it.
He's a 10 or a 9.
But he had very few chips left, and I can see Timon making that move there.
2, 4. 2 or 4?
Calling for cards. He got the 4.
Now the 2. 2, please.
Timon needs to make it straight. He needs a king or a 9, or he is going home.
River card is a 6, and Timon is gone. Joe Seebach took a lot of chips off the youngster, and Vimy Ha finally finished him off.
And he's going the wrong way. The bike racket to Taj to the right.
He was coming over me all day. He was stealing my blinds. I was like, finally woke up.
Sad to see that little guy go.
Yeah.
I took about 40,000 from it.
As the end of day 2 winds down to the outer tables, that is Augustine Mendez. Trust me, but he's afraid to watch the cards.
He actually can see through there. That's the beauty of that shirt.
So with Malinowski's tournament life on the line, all the cards are out, and Mendez can't open up. He is victorious. He gets that much healthier, and Mendez is one of the 80 surviving players. So as we end the second day of action here at the U.S. Poker Championship, 3 players over 200,000 chips. Our chip leader is Eric Crane at 248,300. Eric Bankoff is in second, followed by Dennis Frederick. Join us again as we continue our coverage from Atlantic City. For Norman Chat, I'm Lon McCarran. So long, everybody.
Give us some love down there. Keep it in Atlantic City, bro.